Okay, so what do we know about the monarch known as the Queen today? But, over the course of history, more times than not, it was the king of modern day. Well, generally speaking, over the centuries, it was known as Britain. Back in the time of ancient Rome, it was known as Britain. And France was known as Gaul, Gaul. So, post-World War II, the leader of France was Charles de Gaulle. Charles of Gaul. Was he the same Charles? Charles known as Charlemagne? Is he the once and future king of France? Multiple incarnations as different individual humans, but always the once and future king. Okay, we're trying to be moving along, so I gotta put on my toque. Hold on a second, here's my toque. Okay. Well, it's just because it's snowy outside, there's snow. It's snowy and gray and cold. So on this winter's day, we're trying to give you messages from some people to other people, because it's called a time for you to learn something about what people are talking about. So I'm going to just dip my finger into the wind. That's what I'm doing right now. Now, no, there's no wind in here, but what am I doing? I'm feeling this quantum field. I mean, it's air here, but, generally speaking, all of space, all the space around Earth, let's say, will include the moon. Let's include the rest of the solar system. Oh, I can't really stop at the Oort cloud. I don't know, because I want to get Barnard's star in, because it's the nearest star to us. And then, I don't know, I got to throw in the whole damn Milky Way. I don't know. That's good enough. Okay, so let's just go with this galaxy. Galactic news that Earth needs to know. You're an Earthling. Yes, okay. A news from the Great Central Sun, which is the headquarters of the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. The Great Central Sun wants us all to know... Okay, some of us need to know something. Okay, just some of us need to know this. Just some of you. Okay, some of you need to know lots of you are going to be under the weather tomorrow, Thursday, February the 10th. So you should take the day off. In other words, it's like in advance, because why? Because it's a wedding tonight. It's your cousin's wedding. And this wedding, you took 2 weeks off. Because it's just like, it was just part and parcel of the whole thing as you set it all up. And the wedding, is tonight. And you do expect that tomorrow you're going to feel like you indulged in a really good wedding. And you took the day off. You took the next 2 weeks off. So, you don't have to worry about it, because you got plenty of time for rest and recovery. Because it's like the wedding of all weddings tonight. So some of you are going to feel tomorrow like you're under the weather, because, it was predictable that you weren't going to feel well. So, you people all made sure that, in your bedroom, when you wake up tomorrow, there's 3 pitchers of water, some Tylenol 3 with codeine, You've got this candy striper girl from Molly Maid who's going to come in and she's going to make you, like a light brunch. She's going to make you tea and toast and maybe, I don't know, some soup. And I don't know, you kind of thought if you were up to it, you might order a pizza by delivery because you're just going to feel like I'm really not planning on going outside tomorrow. I'm pretty much going to spend tomorrow lazing around. So some of you are going to be like that. Tomorrow some other people are going to be at all the other different variety of things. Okay. Take a sample. What's going on here in this thing? Whatever this quantum field is. Some people call it the Akashic field. The Great Central Sun has no more messages from us. And the messages we're going to send back to the Great Central Sun are we need a lot more help. Because we had 3 waves of volunteer souls who came in after World War II, after the dropping of the atomic bombs on Japan, because the planet sent out a message to the Great Central Sun and everywhere else, SOS, save our souls. Because the planet said, the way this is going with nukes, they're going to blow the whole atmosphere off the planet, and there's not going to be any air for any creatures whatsoever. Everyone is going to die, extinction level event, because the Russians did explode. Lazara, the Tsar was the name of the king of Russia, the Tsar, Tsar. So the Tsar, Saddam Hussein called it the mother of all bombs. The Tsara Bomba. Megatons of TNT. And they were going to explode it way up in the atmosphere, way up there. And the worry was the scientists all around the world that knew everything about it. It was like the warnings were going out to all the world leaders. That really, we really think that this is enough. We really think that the next generation of these bombs are going to destroy the Earth. So the planet knew. And 3 waves of volunteer souls, they weren't drafted, they were volunteers. Advanced souls, we call them star seeds. Came, incarcerated themselves in meat suit bodies, and were born into various families around the world. Could have been into cabal families that are the families of the 1%, or it could be into poor sharecropper families. Those are like, poor, dirt poor, hard scrabble people, and everyone else in between. The star seeds. And then what happened? Well, part of the whatever it was that they had to have all of their minds wiped because they had to go in undercover. I don't know why. I don't know all this stuff. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there were deals made with the dark because, Satan was in those days, yes, after World War II. During World War II, yes, Satan and Lucifer were the princes of this world. Absolutely true. David R. Hawkins of Consciousness Research confirmed it. He said up until 1987, planet Earth was a hell world. So World War II ended in 1945 with the dropping of the atomic bombs. It was hell. So SOS went out. And souls responded. And some of those people are you. And you, and you, and you. And them, and them, and them, everybody. So now we know what the mission is because those star seeds came in to raise the consciousness on the scale of human consciousness. So that we don't blow ourselves to death. So here we are, and many of us have awoken to the fact that that's, whether they can remember if they're star seeds or not, past lives or not, is like clearly this is the mission right now. Isn't it? Isn't it time for us to ditch the past and start fresh with the wisdom of the star seeds who came here volunteered to come to hell, to help everybody else get out of hell. So let's not hang on to anything to do with the past, because the past was hell. Instead, we want to embrace heaven. Heaven for everyone, even the scorpions, even the orcs. Remember the orcs from Lord of the Rings? Those horrible creatures that Saruman made? Yes. Why? Because we learned from the extraterrestrials. The extraterrestrials don't have, I don't know, they've seen all our English words, but they gave us one. It's called an Isbee. On planet Earth, Isbees are people. You're a person, that's a person, that's a person. Anyone who has a sentience, a self-knowing, they know that they're them, is an Isbee. It's the life inside of creatures. It's the life inside of plants. Isbees, they call us. So we want to free the Isbees because some of the Isbees are, they're slaves. Okay, so where do we want to go next? Well, that's what our mission here is on planet Earth. We want to free the Isbees. And we want them to be happy, joyful. Sat Chit Ananda is what they call it in Sanskrit, which is an ancient language from India. Sat Chit Ananda. It means your very consciousness. And you're very blissful. In other words, it's not horrible. Bliss is good, it's really good. And it's not like phony baloney. It's not Drake's song, Fake Love. It's not that. It's not fake love. It's the Doobie Brothers when they sang, 1970, 1977, Real Love. Michael McDonald sold his soul because he had to sing, but in the end he said, I'd trade it all for just 1 minute of real love. That's my partner of the universe with that siren to say, it is so. So, what's next? Well, Genesis. Now I've got Emily Bronte, the Brontosaurus here. I've got Genesis. Genesis 101, perhaps. What does Genesis mean? Beginnings. Now in the band Genesis, there's a lyric, it goes, Phil Collins is singing and he goes, Turn it on, turn it on again. I know he kind of said it, turn it off, turn it on again. But I think it's more and more, it's turn it on again. Turn it on, turn it on again. So if you play that song, I don't know the name of the title, but you know the song if you know Genesis. There's a song about Jesus. It's kind of like a song to skewer televangelists. But, that song about Jesus, that's a good song to play, because in the end, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Hold on. You can play that song right now because it's close enough to tonight. Because something is like up. Because it is. What else? Blue moon. Once in a blue moon. A jubilee. In the Bible, a jubilee is an Old Testament idea that once every, let's say 50 years. Is it 50 or 20 years? It's something like that. It's not 100 years. It's either 50 or 20 years. Maybe 20. I don't know. Something like that. All debts are canceled. And everything that belongs to people gets put back to the people that it really rightfully belongs to. Everything gets reset and they start it all over. Why? Because back in those days they knew that life on planet Earth is the Monopoly game. And everybody knows at the end of the Monopoly game, somebody owns the bank and owns all the property. And everybody else gets bored playing this game where I don't have any money, and every time I land on something, you own it. And you want me to pay you money, and you've enslaved me because, you basically make me work at the company store. You pay me fuck all, and I got to live in rental housing that's substandard and run by slumlords, vicious thugs, and the other people, the other tenants, are quite often mental cases that should be locked up in psychiatric prisons. So, turn it on again. What are we trying to turn on? More consciousness. How do you get it? You got to raise higher on the scale of human consciousness. How do you do that? Well, I have a new technique and a new video that I made just yesterday, which is, repeat. The Bobby Burrows technique. It's also known as the snooze bar technique. Or the snooze technique. Sudden enlightenment. Zen. What is it? It's just something silly and stupid. No, it's not. It's a way to raise your consciousness when you're like, I know I've heard Eckhart Tolle talking about my egoic nature, and I don't know what the fuck he's talking about, that crazy East German, because he is. He's East German communist. Everybody knows he came from Germany. He came from East Berlin. He did. I don't want to tell you, but I've been to East Berlin after it was freed or whatever, but I stayed in an apartment building that had once been in the possession of the East German secret police, the Stasi. That was the history of this building. It was a small apartment. It was, it was good enough for one person. For two people, it was a tight squeeze. But, it's a fantastic place. It's right in the heart of the museum district of Berlin. It's great. But that was the old history, of all that horrible, and that's where Eckhart Tolle, that's why he's got that strange name. It's not really a Vancouver name. I don't know how many other, maybe about now, there's probably a lot of kids that were named Eckhart after Eckhart Tolle, but, when he first went to Vancouver, I don't know, I'd never heard that name before, Eckhart. It does sound German, though, to me, because I've heard various names like Reinhardt and Urquhart and stuff like that, so. Urquhart actually sounds English, and Reinhardt, the Rhine River's definitely got to be German. But you know, they're all Hessian relative related because everyone knows that the German royal families are the same royal families that are in Great Britain. It was very uncomfortable for the royal family during World War One because their official name was still a German name, Gotha, Gotha. And in World War One, the Germans, the Kaiser means like king or emperor. Kaiser Wilhelm, well, he had a factory that made bombers, and the name of the bombers was Gotha, Gotha, the same as the British royal family. So, you know, the British people who were English and not German, well, actually, they are Teutonic people. I mean, they're all related. They'll pretend they're all different stock, but they're all the same. They're called Caucasian because there's the Caucasus Mountains. It's in Russia. And everything around the Caucasus Mountains is Caucasian. Now, Caucasian people in India are said to be the earliest Caucasians. I don't know, Caucasian, and then I don't know because you know, in African it's African, and Asia has got, you know, well, you know, you definitely have Asiatic people the further east you go. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. Is it true? Well, I don't know, because a lot of this stuff is based upon people's belief in what we call DNA in the cells, which is supposed to be, you know, settled science, that DNA codes for genes that carry the information about, you know, your physical body. Some people say that it could influence your mind too. But where is God if you're a biologist? In your cell nucleuses, in the chromosomes, the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, DNA. That's where it is. And if people that didn't really know any research were to be asked, you know, where do you think all of your memories and all of your knowledge is stored? You're going to say, I don't know, but I remember they were doing some research and they talked about it possibly in biology and possibly also in psychology in lower life forms like flatworms maybe. And they were trying, maybe it was even earlier, maybe it was like grade 7 biology where they might have talked about it, that you know that they could cut like one of these things, cut it in half, and it would regrow the other missing half, and somehow it retained the memories of whatever they thought the thing had learned. And it's like, I don't know, they used to do these experiments to try and figure out where exactly memories are. But I'm sure a lot of people are going to say, well, it must somehow get encoded some way into the DNA. Somehow, I don't know, because people are going to say, I mean, it's not like I can really see DNA with my eyes. And even, if I ordered one of those microscopes that we used in high school biology off of Amazon.com, I'm not going to be able to see with my eyes all of those individual DNA strands because they're too small. But that's why they must be able to code for all my memories, because it's unbelievably small. And it's already coded for this body, and it's so intricate, and it's got like all the details of the eye, and every shape and form, morphogenesis. So I think a lot of people would say it must be. Because clearly, it's not like, it's not stored in the air around me. It's got to be in my physical me. A lot of people would say. I think they would say. Just based upon, it's like, well, I don't know the details of it, but, it was touched on in psychology and biology and science. So I don't know how good the understanding is, most people are going to say. Most people are going to say, because I don't remember getting in-depth, detailed lectures or textbooks on exactly, and that was many years for me. I mean, my God, that was, 30, it could be 30 years or 35 more years ago. And you got to figure, science has got to have progressed a lot in 35 years since I was in university. But still, I don't subscribe to, a journal, those journals, because at the scientific library, the libraries subscribe to zillions of journals. Engineering and science and social science and medical science. I mean, I don't know, zillions of publications. So lots of research was being done. Publish or perish the thought. Professors, that's what they're told, and they do their research and publish. So I'm just going to say, scientifically, I don't know. I'm not up to date. I'm 35 years out of date, but definitely there was research being done, because it said in that textbook, different things. It wasn't just one textbook. So anyway, can we move on to the next subject as to where the memories are? Well, the answer just seems to be I can't. And you're going to look at me and say, I know, but I can't, because there's so many other things that were not taught to me in psychology, biology, or grade 7 science. What? Metaphysics, epistemology, Sanskrit, that ancient language from India, because in ancient India, those people were really smart. They made, I don't know, were they smarter than Einstein? They were at least as smart as Einstein. They were at least as smart as Heisenberg, Walter White from Breaking Bad, or Werner Heisenberg from quantum physics. At least as smart as John Wheeler, the theoretical physicist. Perhaps even smarter than the architect from the Matrix movies. Etc., etc. There's lots more examples, because there's computer smart things like Big Blue from IBM, or HAL 9000 from what was that one called? No, not that one. Not Space 2001. I don't know. It was the 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's Alexa and Siri, etc., etc. Okay, what else do we want to talk to you? We want to talk about Genesis and Regenesis. Why? Because turn it on. Turn it on again. Play some Genesis, that band, please, now.